us. Thanks to all of our friends who are viewing us on Facebook Live. We appreciate you being here so much. Especially on this day of remembrance, I need to mention this. Very, very special day. We will never forget September 11th. This is 23 years that it marks. I mean, I still remember exactly where I was standing on when we heard about it. So thank you all for joining us. That's very, very important to all of us, to our hearts. And so just want to thank y'all again for being here. We're just going to quickly go over some good stuff that we've got going on, and we want to make sure that you all are aware of. Make sure, like I said, man, we're already 3/4 of the way through, right? Our Lunch.Learn.Leads.
We got 2 left.
It's gone just so amazing. We've had a great turnout, so thank you all so much for being here. As I mentioned, it's a wonderful way to network and market your business and learn definitely invaluable information. So make sure that you register for the last 2. Cybersecurity, which everyone needs to know more about. There's so much scamming going on nowadays. And then also our favorite Nancy Van Gell with Tyler Hispanic Business Alliance will be here with us on November 13th. She always does an amazing job. Make sure there's a QR code if you'd like to register. And I need to give a huge shout out to our amazing sponsors and VIPs. I'll follow up in an email, y'all, after all of this with all the links. If you all are interested in hearing more about our VIP program, it puts you everywhere the BBB is. So I'll send that information on our follow-up email. That way, if y'all need anything, I'm your go-to gal, and I'm here to help you. Woo! Super excited about this. We've only got 3 spots left for
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, oh my gosh. Last year was a blast. This year
That's 40 teams, so we have a 40 team max.
We're pretty much, we love TrueVine, but I think next year we may outgrow TrueVine, if you will. So, you know, we love TrueVine. Absolutely love them. So, like I said, the growth is exponential, so we appreciate y'all. Another huge shout out to all of our VIPs, as well as Republic Services, who is an actual sponsor, and they will be there as well. So we want to thank them for that. There's still time to register. Like I said, a few more spots available. Let's go. This is an amazing raffle item that our friends at TXU gave us. Thank you, TXU. It's 4, as you can see, it's 4 platinum seats plus parking and a big merchant voucher to the opening season of the Dallas Stars versus the Islanders. And it's on a Saturday, which is absolutely amazing. Retail value is $1,200, y'all. $1,200. Drawing will be held at the Battle of the Businesses Cornhole Tournament. It says you need not to be present. I misread that. I was like, do they need to be present or do they not? Anyway, wow, $5 per ticket. Can't be right with the stick, so y'all make sure to QR code. We love QR codes.
The tickets start at $5, so it's not very expensive. You can buy like 100 of them for I don't remember how much, but yeah.
Amazing. So awesome. We're so grateful to TXU for that. And then our upcoming Shred Day in Longview. Jason's so awesome. He went yesterday and put the big signs out at Drug Emporium there in Longview. Last year was a huge success. Every year is a huge success. So want to give a big shout out to Shred It, who we always partner with every year. Also to our sponsors, Thrive It, and then Burns as well. And then all of these are VIP, as you can see. Like I mentioned, VIP, you're everywhere that the BBB is. So if y'all haven't, and it's free. Who doesn't like free, right? So that's the date at Drug Emporium in Longview. Next is Lindale. Last year was a huge success with them as well. We partnered with Architects on this one. Again, Thrive It, Burns, and then all of our awesome VIPs. We can't do it without y'all. So make sure that you put that on your calendar as well. It's going to be at the Lindale Chamber offices. Boom. Again, we're always looking to recruit amazing ambassadors who advocate for the BBB. So if you're interested, like I said, I'll send a follow-up email. You can give me all the questions, all the things that you need to know, but we would love, love, love to get you all on board. We know that y'all are passionate about your business and the BBB, or you wouldn't be here today. So we thank you for that very much. Here's the spot. John, do you want to mention anything else about it, or?
Yeah, come by and get my card if you haven't already registered for
Love
your
it.
time slot, and we'll get you all set up, and we even have a waiting list, which is working really well.
That's
If
great.
somebody has an emergency at the last minute, we can
That
call
is
the waiting list. So please get my card and contact us to let us know.
And for all of you that couldn't be here, I thought there was a QR code.
No, we need to add that.
It's okay, no problem, but we'll get you fixed up. Reach out to John.
One other thing, this is sponsored by Blue Egg Leadership. They're
Right.
paying for all this, so it's not a gimmick. It's a real deal. It's been paid for already. So when you come in, they're even giving right now. By the way, if I can mention, Michelle,
Yes.
we're going to have several online training sessions with the leadership coming up. So you can sign up for that free of charge, and then we're going to have some training sessions coming up over the next couple months here in the BBB.
So on Thursday, you're going to receive, all of you that are on our mailing list will receive an email to register for the free, it's in person. No, they're online.
They're Zoom.
Yeah, they're online, so it's something that you can host sorry, I just lost my train of thought, Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
So you can get a group of people together and watch it together
Yes,
there if you
that'd be
like.
awesome.
So register for that. There are 3 possible dates. You can do September 20th. There's a date in October, I think the 18th in October, and then there's also a November one. So you can register for any of those, and then they have follow-up sessions that you can also attend. And I'm not sure if those are in person or no. They've rented the room for it, so those
Right.
are going to be in person. So
Good
These
stuff.
are fabulous people.
Good
they're
stuff.
great, and they do a scientific approach to leadership, and it's pretty cool.
I love
I
that.
Yeah.
have a question. When is the ones that we did already, when are they airing? Or is it on the BBB spot? I was confused on that.
Did you come in for the chamber spot or the BBB spot?
The BBB,
Okay, and your question was again?
when is it gonna be the advertising?
When does it air?
So I can be aware.
Oh, I think yours is probably running next week.
Okay.
Yay, yay. This is such good stuff. I mean, it's just such good stuff. Also, same with the Screen Vision Media. We're also offering the advertising with cinema advertising. I know a lot of people are going back to the movies, which I absolutely love to do. Great opportunity for be presented at the beginning, right? Like the credit, or
Yeah,
at the end of the credit. So either way, it's a great
At the
spot
beginning.
to be in. So y'all make sure to take full advantage of that as well. And we have Sam now to come up and introduce our amazing speaker. We appreciate you, Sam.
This lady has a fantastic portfolio.
Yes.
Let me tell you what, so it's a book I want to read, so y'all just be prepared, okay? There's it, Judy Loden. She's with Source Funding, LLC. Okay, she's associated with and currently serving as the SBA 504 loan specialist for Source Funding, LLC, which is a skilled loan consulting, donor, procurement, and grant writing group of Texas. Currently, structural business development officer for both LIFT Fund and People Fund. Both of these organizations are certified development companies for the U.S. Small Business Administration and provides SBA 504 loans. At the request of SBA, started with and founded Great Texas Capital Corporation, which provides financial assistance and participation with SBA under Title V of the Small Business Investment Act, and served in all capacities of the organization. Started and was the director of the Small Business Development Center for Trinity Valley Community College from 1987 to 2007.
Wow.
Provided free counseling and training for small businesses within a 5-county area. The program is funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, the state of Texas, and Trinity Valley Community College. Served as economic development specialist in the 90s for the country of Macedonia in Eastern Europe under the U.S. Agency for International Development.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, right.
Wow.
Assisted 15 cities in setting up economic development teams to mobilize or assist for economic development. Adjuncts for Texas Engineering Extension Services for Texas A&M University System. Marketed technical and business assistance for manufacturers and businesses within the state of Texas. After securing over $100 million in loans, and that created over 2,800 jobs within 5 years, became the 2008 Financial Service Champion of the Year Award.
Wow.
For the SBA Dallas Fort Worth District Office.
That's amazing.
So I give you Judy Lowe.
Woo! Great job, Sam.
You can stand wherever you can, as long as it's close to the screen, you're good.
Okay, so I've been around a while.
I love it. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I wanted to kind of start out also representing kind of the Small Business Development Center, which I was one of the original directors back when it started. Really enjoyed my career there because it provides a lot of wonderful services. The reason why Don Proudfoot or the Small Business Development Center people from Tyler are not here, they're at National Conference. So I'm standing in for Don Proudfoot at the Small Business Development Center.
Maybe a little louder, yeah. Unless do you want us to mic you up? We can mic you up too. Do you don't have, if you can speak loud, I think you're good. Yeah.
Small Business Development Centers provide free or no-cost counseling. Has anyone in this room used the Small Business Development Centers? Okay.
Oh, good.
Pretty awesome organization. And they are at no cost to small business. And they're funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, the state of Texas, and a college or a university. Every county in the nation is covered by a Small Business Development Center. Probably in this area, when I was listening to where y'all are from, there is one in Longview, there's one right here across from Sam's at the Loop, and then there's one in Athens. So whatever is closest to you, you can contact them and get free business counseling assistance. I do 504 loans. These are the economic development loans for SBA. Have done that for a long, long time. And I always pull in a Small Business Development Center counselor with me because I know what they can do, and they can provide projections and research and marketing. You know, they've got access to all types of software and that sort of thing. So it allows the small business to get a better loan, and you can't beat the services and you don't even have to pay for it. Everybody, I'm sure, being business owners, you're familiar with business plans. There's a lot of information about that. Small Business Development Centers can help you with the small business plan, help you with the projections, do research, that sort of thing. But in case you're thinking about, since this is really kind of geared towards financing, something to keep in mind that if you're going to a lender, either a bank that you know or one that you're going to be going to or approaching several banks, one of the things that a bank is going to have to do, or the loan officer, is a business or a loan credit memo. I write those all the time. I've got a lot of projects across Texas right now, and write what the loan is for. So if you want to provide some of that information to your loan officer or your bank, that's going to help them a lot in getting the information to the loan committee. First thing is, what is is your loan request? What do you need the money for? What are you gonna put down as equity? They wanna go ahead and put that, small business development centers can help you with that structure. Explain the company structure and the ownership, the purpose of the loan, the benefit to the company. Project cost, you want to include bids and quotes for what you're going to need. If you're going to need equipment or fixtures or whatever, get bids. Construction, work with your contractor. Now, it sounds like we've got some contractors here in the room. Work with them, get the bid, the quote, what you're going to be doing, work with your architect, get your blueprints, that sort of thing. Get your bids down. Describe your business, the history, the entity description, products and services, what you do in your business. Explain your competition, who do you compete with. Also include some of the industry outlook. Small business development centers can run free of charge what we call IBIS report. It's probably your #1 industry source that we look at when we're looking at industry of that particular industry overall. It's
What is the word that you say?
IBIS, I-B-I-S. But the Small Business Development Center can run those for you for free. That's a very expensive software. And then it will tell you everything about your particular industry. Looking at, what kind of, the growth it's having, where it is nationwide. It even gives ratios on your projections. So just signing up to be a client of the Small Business Development Center, they can run one of these reports for you in your particular industry. Explain your management, your marketing plan, how you're going to grow the business. Include your business financials, last 3 years tax returns, year-end, interim financials, personal financials, and then also start looking at preparing some projections. Now, if you're going to look at, depending on what if you're an established business and you've got a lot to put down, more to put down, you probably can look at a conventional loan. If you're going to buy real estate or equipment, most banks are going to want 20, 30, possibly 40% down. The Small Business Administration, banks can use that program, and the real benefit of Small Business Administration is you don't have to put as much down. Normally it's a 10% down equity. So you can save a lot of money there by going SBA. And ever since COVID with PPP loans and EIDL loans, everybody's heard of SBA. But there are a lot of great programs. I gave you kind of a handout of small business loans. The two main ones are 7A and 504. Now, I do 504 loans in the state of around Texas, and I work with several certified development corporations. I'm a contractual BDO for both People Fund and Lift Fund. And they have different boxes just like banks. So I kind of go from one to the other where I think I can get it done, that sort of thing. But a 7A, you get all the money from the bank. It's just a government guarantee. If it's $150,000 or less, the bank will get an 85% government guarantee. If it's if it's more than 150, and they go to 5 million on 7As, then you can get an 85% government guarantee. So it takes some of the risk from the bank, and SBA loans have gotten to be very, very popular. Now, if you're going to be exporting, and I recently, just a few months back, an economic development group pulled me in to look at financing for manufacturing. It is a startup. It's fairly new technology in the U.S. not, and there are a lot of countries that are using this technology, has to do a lot with recycling. I started structuring it because it was mainly for a building. The Economic Development Group was gonna give them the land and try to do the 504. The problem was it was a startup and it was a multi-million-dollar project. But they were gonna do some exporting. And so the bank that I tried the local ones, really wasn't their cup of tea of what they could do. So I took it to a 504 lender that I'd worked with for over 20 years. Headquarters is Wisconsin, but they love 504. So they looked at it and said, you know, this is a startup. They're gonna do exporting. What about an export loan? Fine. That got the bank a 90% government guarantee. So it was less risk, and they're building. Now, I think in a few years when they expand, we'll probably do a multi-million-dollar expansion loan because they're gonna need more equipment, a bigger building, you know, for the manufacturing company. So there's ways that you can structure, look at, you know, the benefit to the banks and that sort of thing. Since I do 504 loans, and by the way, if you want to contact me, my name and cell phone, email, don't mind early morning calls, early evening calls, give me a call. Be glad to structure, work with you if you're looking at financing. Now, since, yes.
Are the banks, because they're covered on 85% of the loan, more lenient with the purpose of doing things with the company, or are they just as strict as a normal loan would be?
It depends on the bank, but normally they are less strict. Now, if you do 504, 504 is lending for fixed assets, building long-term equipment. I've got one that I'm working on right now, and it's not East Texas, it's in Central Texas. But I've got a national bank that loves 504s, and that borrower is getting 7.1 fixed for 5 years. It's a 25-year note, but it is, and ours are always 10, 20, or 25. So it depends on the situation, but in a lot of cases, you can, because of the fact that there is this protection, particularly in the 504 loans, you will see a much better rate, because a bank will have first lien, SBA will have second lien, and then the borrower puts in normally 10%, 15%, another 5% if it's a startup, and another 5% if it's a special purpose. Special purpose, there are handouts there that's listed that they consider. I got hotel, anything with a swimming pool, forum, that sort of thing. Those are always considered special purpose because it's, you know, nursing homes, because there's a lot of restrooms, you know, it's kind of hard to make that a multi-purpose building. That's an additional 5. But I do see really good rates when we do an SBA 504 loan, because we are partnering through a certified development corporation and the U.S. Small Business Administration. We're going to take the second lien of the real estate and have generally 40% of the deal, and we're at second lien. And, you know, we can do workouts. I've done a lot of those to save a business through the years. But yes, a lot of cases you do get a better rate. But the SBA 504 loans, that's your Economic Development Loan Program of the Small Business Administration. Really has 3 types of 504s. There's the regular, which we call the 50-40-10, 50% from the bank, 40% through a certified development corporate / SBA, 10% generally from the borrower. Now, again, if it's a startup, then you have to add 5%, and if it's special purpose, you have to add 5%. If it's both startup and special purpose, then it's a 20% down. That's as high as an equity equity injection that SBA requires. On 7A loans, you know, SBA is fine with just a 10% injection. However, all the money comes from the bank, so that really depends on how much equity that a bank's gonna want. Now, there's two other programs. There's a refi expansion and a debt refi. This is really good about, there's a benefit and the actual debt. Yeah, water. I'm sorry, I didn't sign it. It's on my computer with a little water. Gotcha. Thank you. You're very
Judy, do most of the lenders keep their loans in-house or do they sell them?
In East Texas, they keep them. It depends on the bank. Sometimes, now, there are 7A preferred lenders out there, and they do it, that's, you know, they've got a big SBA department there within the bank, and, they may sell them. There's a lot of money on the secondary market. You don't get as good a high interest rate on a 7A normally if they're gonna sell it, but it depends, but you can get your deal done. But a debt refi, if you want to refinance an existing loan, if 75% of your note is real estate or long-term equipment, we can look at refinancing that. And the beauty part about it, our interest rates, even with these high interest rates right now for this month, was 5.7, and that's fixed for 25 years. So, if you've got, and we've experienced the prime rates being a little high, but if we can show that by doing a 504 refi, you can improve 10% working capital, we can do it. And particularly if you've got a lot of equity already in that building. Now, we have to maintain 10%. So kind of give an example, making it easy. Say for instance, you've got a building that appraises for $1 million. You've got $500,000 worth of debt, and maybe you're paying 10% right now. You can look at, look at doing a debt refi SBA 504 loan. So you can refinance that $500,000. The bank can take $250,000 of it. I can take $250,000 of it. And the beauty part about that is it allows you also to do working capital. So you can, you know, on a appraised building of $1 million, you can take 20% of the appraised value. That's $200,000 for business expenses, or if you've got a line of credit, or if you've got business credit card debt, that sort of thing. It's pure working capital. 504 normally doesn't allow working capital. It does in this particular program. So you've got $1 million building. You've got a debt on it at $500,000. The bank can take $250,000. We can take $250,000. And then you want to cash out $200,000 because you really need to pay off this expensive or maxed out line of credit that you got, and get 18 months of working capital, salary, inventory, anything like that. The bank can take $100,000. We can take $100,000. So then you got a bank loan at $350,000, and then we've got second lien of $350,000, and ours is based on 10-year treasury bonds. They're going down. I really think it'll be cheaper next month. It's whatever the bond is at the time we sell it will be the interest rate. August it was 5.9. Actually, September was 5.7. And there's actually, I've done 504 loans at 2 something when those rates, and they got that fixed rate for 25 years. Now, if we find out you do this building loan, and you get 5.7 from SBA, which is really good for 25 years, But all of a sudden, interest rates, I really don't see how that's possible with all the money the U.S. government's printing. But let's say they go way down, you can refinance a 504 loan.
Are there any, repayment penalties associated with any structuring on any of these loans?
For 504, there is a sliding scale penalties. If it's a 20 or 25 year debenture, it's a 10-year sliding scale on interest. So there'll be some, but you want to play with the numbers and see is it worth it. And the reason is the 504 loan program does not use taxpayer money. That's why they run the loans through certified development corporations. I've never been a government employee, but I've been licensed and regulated by the federal government. But they don't have to provide an office space or anything else. And then they don't put up the money. They just simply guarantee 100% of full faith credit U.S. government. But it's an actual bondholder that puts that up. That's how come all 504 loans are gathered 1 month. Like, ones that are closing in September, they're kind of gathering all the paperwork now. And then they'll sell them on the New York Stock Exchange the 1st of October. And whatever the 10-year treasury bonds plus a little bit of fees, that's your fixed rate. And the debenture, the SBA part can be 10, 20, or 25. Yes.
If you have a 504 loan, let's say the bank has, is it 40% or of that? Could you do another 504 loan refinance for just the portion that the bank has, or do you have to do it for both the 504 and?
Yeah, no, it had, when I asked it, said that, are you asking about refinancing what the bank has?
Yeah, the portion that the bank has
The
under
debt.
504.
You can't do it under 504, you can go and get another bank to take that portion. But you can't have all of it being under 504, because then the federal government is competing with banks, they don't want to do that.
Does the program have any, concentration sensitivity right now to any particular assets, like real estate or anything or any manufacturing or whatever, or is it
Real estate.
no concentrations to the point you have to worry about?
They do kind of look at hotels. I know one of the CDCs that I work with, we're kind of maxed out on the hotels. I got one approved last week, but I ran it through the other CDC that I represent. They're not maxed out, but hotels, there are some, but it depends on the concentration of the CDC, not of the government. Yeah, nationwide, there's really not a way you can get, concentrated in one area, but a CDC can. That's kind of how they police it or monitor that. Yes.
I have a question because before when I asked them about the SBA loans, they have a minimum of the loan amount. Is that true or is not? If you're going to have a loan with them, they mentioned that it's a they have like a minimum that you wanted to loan. You cannot,
yes, like a micro loan.
yes.
Yeah, there is with the micro loan, there's different types.
Okay.
Now, on the regular 7A, 5 million is the max.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the minimum is like,
Depends on what program you're really looking at. In SBA, as you can see from that handouts of all the different types of SBA loans, they have maximum loan amount in some of the really small ones. Now, if you're looking for a real small one,
yeah.
you do have certified development financial institutes and nonprofit institutes, both People Fund and Lit Fund, that I do their 504 loans for. They do loan directly to small businesses. And so you can, if you're looking at a small loan, you can get, now I don't do those, but I know the people of both organizations and can put you in touch with the East Texas person that, and you can compare. Sometimes your CDFIs can offer, particularly if you're a veteran, their fund and People Fund have low rates if you're a veteran.
Well, I'm not. I'm older.
But it covered what you're needing the money
Yes.
for. And that's something too, that Small Business Development Center or myself, if you know, give me a call and say, I'm
Yes.
looking for this, I can direct you on what way to go. I also know all the banks and other banks in East Texas. I've done a lot of loans just all over Texas. I do a lot in central, Austin, San Antonio, Waco, that area as well. Got to know most of them, but I know the national lenders as well. So, and I always encourage, get to know your local banker first. And I've always, when I was counseling businesses, I always say, get to know your banker. Pick and choose, someone that you think will be there, that will support your business when you need something. But I always say it's kind of like picking a marriage partner. You need to pick somebody to live with. Because when things get tough, you want that banker to be there with you and support you, understand your business. So business, bank relationships are very, very important. And I've got one, it's a really sophisticated manufacturing company in Austin I'm gonna go to on Monday. And I'm thinking, I'm zeroed in on 3 different banks. One of them, what's more important to you? We're gonna refinance her building for her. What's most important? The cheapest interest rate. Do you want the longest term? I got one of them that'll go 33 years on the building. So I'm gonna interview her on what she wants. And I like to only work with one bank at a time and say, okay, I got this, what do you think? And they tell me quickly, yeah, this will fit, probably not, and then I go to the next one. I worked with Origin Bank also.
Do you, does your organization work with private equity, private capital partners?
No, I don't.
Is there any prohibition against that?
No. I mean,
If you're to try to, do a co-op for some reason because of size.
well, I have done projects, when I was Small Business Development Center Director, because the idea is to try to get your business in a direction that's gonna be best for them. So, yeah, I've helped businesses with private equity injections and that sort of thing. I don't do that now. I'm partially retired, so I kind of pick and choose what I'm going to do.
Well, no, I'm saying you would find the private equity partner, they have a private equity partner already, and it's, you're saying they don't partner together at all?
It depends on the structure.
Okay.
Yeah. You talking about for the equity injection?
Equity, or maybe they do some partial financing, and then, then your company would take partial financing, maybe the working capital side, some, they take the fixed asset side.
Okay, well, 504 does not do working capital. They
Right,
only
there's
do
7.
fixed assets. But looking at 504, we don't have to have, the first lien lender does not have to be a bank, so it could be something.
Okay.
Yeah, like a credit union or something like that. They could have first lien on the equity injection, but they have to, kind of abide by all the SBA rules. But
Right.
yeah, that's possible in the 504. Yeah, some of the projects I worked on through the years required the, particular manufacturing, it required the private equity injection. It just simply at that time wasn't a bankable deal. Maybe technology was really good, but it was new, or it didn't have the historicals. It didn't really fit into what the bank was looking at, and you had to go with private equity injection. Depends on the project. Okay. Oh, and the last one of the 504 is the refi expansion. Say, for instance, you've got a convenience store in one town, you're wanting to open another one under the same entity, and you don't really want to use any of your working capital for equity injection, then we can look at the equity that's in the first one, and then apply that, and you can pay it. I've actually done one where I had a convenience store that had an existing 504 loan, one I did, So we just combined the two, we paid off the SBA loan on the first one, combined it, and she built her second location and did not have to put any additional equity. So that's another way of doing, there's a lot of different structures out there that can be done in securing financing. Okay. Got extra time, okay, any more questions on, I do recommend everybody that, Small Business Development Center is just a great organization. I'd go there, make an appointment, kind of make a list of what it doesn't have to be for financing, but maybe just business counseling. They are really good about helping you with projections and that sort of thing, doing a lot of research, particularly if you're looking at starting a business. They even have software where they can look at how many of the type business you're looking at opening right there within a certain radius. Some cases, and they'll identify them as far as their address, how close are you, you can do a 10-mile radius or a 15-mile, so forth, looking at the different competition. Yes?
For example, I'm a home-based business. Everything is at home. I have my little office at home. But for inventory, for example, for my equipment and the stuff that we use for cleaning, I really need a space, like a business place. So if I go to a small business, they will help me plan, so I can get a loan maybe, so I can get a place.
You're wanting to buy a building then? Or?
Yes, like let's say if that's, for example, one of the things that I want to do, will they help me? Because I have no idea how to do that.
Actually, I can help you. That's kind of loans I do. So,
Okay, well,
and I'll pull
amazing.
in the small business development
Praise the
centers.
Lord, I'm here.
Yeah, they're looking at, if you've grown your business to a certain point, now I'm ready for my own building. I really need my own building, one for visibility, so people know who we are, maybe to store certain equipment, have an actual office, that sort of thing. But yes, now, the debenture does have to be at least 60,000. That's as small as the 504 will go, so you're really looking at a $300,000 building.
Okay.
If it's smaller than that, there's gonna be some other programs, but real estate's so expensive right now in Texas. It's
Yes.
hard to probably get one for less than that anyway. And, I work with, like if you've got a particular bank that you've been working with, so we approach them first, but I can prepare or get you ready for a 504 loan, make a call. I can even go with you to your banker and talk about the 504. And the beauty part about that is part of it. Now, have you been in business 2 years or more?
Well, in March, we're gonna have 4 years. I founded the
You'll
company
have
in
4 years?
2021.
Okay, then, yours is just gonna be 10% down. Now, SBA considers if you haven't been in business at least 2 years, then they consider you a startup. But if you've been in business for 2 years, then you're not a startup and it would be a 10%. So say for instance, you find land and building, it's $500,000, you would need to look at putting 50,000 down and then 250 from the bank, 200,000 from ACDC/SBA, and you can go 20 or 25 years. Interest rates are a little bit better at 25. I would recommend a 25-year. You can always pay it off early. But at first, get your payments down as low as possible. And then we can approach your bank on doing a 504 loan, looking at the real estate. If it's an existing building, you can do a buy-sell agreement of that particular building and location. If you're looking at doing
info, I think I'm gonna have to meet with you.
I couldn't agree with you more on the SBDC because, in former life, I was a commercial lender and a SBA lender in a different market, and people come in with expectations. And after the first interview, a lot of times you would send them to SBDC so they have better define if they're realistic or not. Because you don't want to give them any false hope, and you don't want to for them to spend a lot of money with a CPA, so on and so forth. But that's free.
Exactly.
And I would send them, and then we'd work with the SBDC representative to see if it's coming along, if they would show up.
Yes.
Because sometimes they didn't even show up, and that which really kind of shows you that they weren't probably as serious as, and you can invest a lot of money and time
Right.
and work with the folks. So, but yeah, I utilized and leveraged them quite a bit.
I'm guessing that some of our audience, either online or in person, may be debt averse. Can you share maybe some of your success stories? Are you allowed to do that, even without naming names? I mean, if you can, or yeah, or you can name names if you're allowed to.
Yeah, but debt, you're saying ones that are nervous about debt?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, we work really tough on the projections. I mean, this is SBA, it's not that easy. So we really look at the projections, we look at the historicals, we analyze it. Actually, our credit memo is tougher than most banks. You know, I get a copy of it, but that's part of what we can do to see. If you go through the process of SBA, chances are you're going to be ready, because the loss rate, a lot of times with SBA, is lower than banks, just because even though they're the government and they're there to take risks, they are picky. Because the last thing they want to do is to loan a small business money that they're really not ready for.
Yep.
I don't like that either. I want to make sure, I want to feel good about projects that I'm working that is actually going to benefit them and help them as well.
Do you have some success stories that you can share? Like a company that came in, you guys helped them and their growth, and
they went from this to
from here to here. I remember Stanley's was one of y'all's companies that you guys. I think y'all worked with Stanley's a long time ago, maybe.
Yeah, could be. I'm trying to think of something here in Tyler. We did Harley's, the new, the building.
The expansion.
That a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that.
and they own the whole shopping
The whole
center.
shopping center now, yeah.
Yeah, we did it for their business, and that was a long time ago when they were building that big new building.
Did y'all work with Truevine or anything like that? Yeah.
True,
Yeah. I know that there's a lot of companies locally that have been very successful by working with you guys. So yeah.
Texas Ragtime, Athens, I did his 7A line when he was getting started, and then I did his 504 line when he was buying this building, first, a long time ago, very successful, really like manufacturing, it can be a little bit more difficult, but with manufacturing, you can, they provide a lot of economic impacts. Got a question?
So it's not really off topic, but I guess kind of. I got flooded during Harvey back years ago, and of course FEMA came out and they're worthless. I hate to say it, but they were like, you're not able or whatever.
Qualified.
So they push you to get an SBA loan, and that confused me because I'm like, I don't have a small business. Why would you push me
The
to do the
SBA does have the disaster program under their umbrella, which is totally separate from
Okay.
any of their loan programs.
That's what I was
So
wondering.
whenever a disaster happens, FEMA and Small Business Administration come out. But the SBA disaster loans are direct loans, and they're very low. And I guess because that happens, because FEMA's not used to loans, SBA is.
Gotcha.
And so I'm thinking way back when, that's why Congress put that program, but yes, you know, you need.
I mean, I was grateful for it, don't get me wrong, you know, but I was sitting there going, oh, I'm a small business, but the loan was at 1%, how can you turn that down? You know, I mean, it's like,
Exactly.
so, yeah, I just
I
was,
think it's because when they first came up with SBA disaster, or when the federal government knew that they had to do disaster loans, they figured it would be better to put them under SBA simply because they're used to doing loans. FEMA does not do loans, that's not what they do.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you very
But
much.
yes, if you got a disaster, you may have a 1% financing on a new
Yes.
home or something like that, that again has nothing to do with home, with a business.
Gotcha.
I think,
Totally different entity and totally different employees as well.
I
But it is part of the
Interesting.
SBA.
Well, they helped me tremendously, so they lost everything.
I think FEMA is more on funding for disasters, right?
Do what?
FEMA is more on funding the disasters,
Yeah.
ones that you are on the
FEMA, I
region.
think, is to get help and get the supplies and help people get back on their feet. But long term, when you need that home rebuilt, you're gonna go SBA, because FEMA doesn't have any relief buckets.
In back in '79 in Wichita Falls, we had a tornado that took out 4,000 homes overnight. And they, SBA made, and that was in an interest rate environment, it was like 18% at that time. So they made 30-year fixed rate 3% loans as a secondary, second mortgage. And that helped rebuild that situation.
Amazing.
And it took a long time to rebuild, obviously, you know, it took about 10 years.
Yeah, they, you know, when, COVID came along, and government was shutting down businesses, and they came up with the PPP loans, and that was strictly to kind of keep the employees or keep the businesses going as we were going through that. And I know every banker probably did too. They'd work 12 hours, 7 days a week, you know, getting those things done, got them done. And most of them were forgiven, and it saved small businesses. But that was a great program that they put together that really saved a lot, and that was just crazy times when I think about it. They announced that on a Friday afternoon, and that Saturday morning, I wouldn't have any of that. But I had bank presidents call me up, you know, at home, and my dentist was calling me because I had done his 504 loan, and he was shut down. You know, they wouldn't even allow you to go see a dentist unless you had a really bad toothache. And he didn't know what to, he said, well, can I have my CPA that does dentistry in Dallas call you? And I said, sure, but probably don't know much more than what you do, because they were just announcing it. And I know SBA was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? But it was a program that really helped out, helped a lot of businesses stay in businesses. And then behind it, you had the EIDL loan, which a lot of people got as well, and it saved. But
Yeah.
any more questions, or?
I have a question.
Mhm.
We working on our plan. Basically, we have only 4 months on our business, and if we want to open or start with a business credit, it's a good idea to go and apply to my bank for, I don't know, maybe a car and start that before we
Start
go
the
with you?
relationship, exactly.
Okay.
Let them know what you're doing, let the banker get to know you, so that they know what you're doing, and then borrow just a little bit. So you kind of get familiar with them, and they get familiar with you, so it's easier to get that yes. Finance, a lot of it is relationship.
Hey, that's life in general, man. That's what
That's true.
But it's especially relationships when it comes to doing financing. Right? Correct. That's right. That's right. They want to know who you are, and through the years I've worked with some wonderful people. And it's amazing what they've been able to endure. I've got one in Waco right now, I'm she teaches every little child in Waco, Texas, swimming. But she does it in so many pools. And we're doing a building. She bought the building on interim financing right now, worked with a local bank, and they allowed her to buy the real estate in the building because the seller was getting impatient. We were just about to, the bank had approved it, and we're getting ready to look at closing, and we're needing to really evaluate exactly. And she called me just when I was driving up here and said, with my contractor, he just told me it's gonna cost $900,000 more.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And she's gonna go with someone else, but it made her back up, realize, and I said, well, everything that you've done so far has been right, and a lot of it is trial and error, and, you know, sometimes
Yeah, for sure.
you just really gotta work, you know, to get that done. I admire small business. I have a strong passion for small businesses.
I just want to make a comment. I mean, when you mentioned that, it made me think, for us to be here and be having a business, we have to have the leadership mentality, because we're always going to run into issues in life. But if you are going to be laying down, oh my gosh, this happened to me, I'm going to be crying out loud, that doesn't matter. You just have to suck it up, keep moving, and it's going to be fixed eventually. And sometimes in business, I'm speaking for myself, I've been running into a lot of stuff. In business, nobody tells us. I appreciate a lot the Better Business Bureau and this Lunch.Lead, because it's helping me a lot. As business owners, leaders of our business, we have to invest in ourselves, and this is one of the ways that I'm very grateful for, because financial is something that we don't learn in high school. We have to learn as trial and error, and that as business owners make us waste or lose money, and it's trial and error, and for us, it costs money, and we sacrifice a lot. So I want to tell you
Amen, sister.
that I'm grateful for you. Thank you. I hope I can give another goal in my list for my business, and I appreciate every single one of you being here as ambassador and being part of this. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yay, you did awesome. So informative. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. All right. So let's see. Yay. That was so awesome. Thank you. So make sure to mark your calendars for next month, October the 9th, as I mentioned, our cybersecurity. Man, it's just, they're running rampant, aren't they? I mean, it's just gotten terrible. But again, thank you so, so much to our VIP investors. Like I said, for making this all possible. Thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Ta-da! That's it.
Thank you.
Okay.